Find the limit by using rationalizing method. Every time you try to find the limits of a given problem, you have to get into the notion of these three methods. The first method you should try is the substitution method. If the substitution method doesn't work, you need to try the second method, which is called the factoring method. And if the factoring method doesn't work, then the rationalizing method should be utilized. Let's say that you are given this limit as x approaches 2 for radical x plus 2 minus x divided by x raised to the third power minus 2x squared. Every time you see a radical minus or plus a constant or a variable, you have to realize that you need to use the rationalizing method. So the first thing you need to do for this given limit expression is to use the substitution method, because every time you encounter a limit problem, the three methods that you should keep in mind is the substitution method, the factoring method, or the rationalizing method. So the first method that you should try is the substitution method. The substitution method is the same thing as a plug-in method. So for this particular problem, you just plug in 2 into every variable that you see from the given. It's also called a substitution method or a plug-in method. So 2 plug it into the x, which becomes 2 plus 2, which is 4. Radical 4 becomes 2, minus 2 because you plug in the 2 for the x variable. For the denominator, 2 raised to the third power is 8, minus 8. And when you solve this out, the numerator will be 0 and the denominator will be 0. When you encounter this kind of answer, it's called an indeterminate. Anytime you encounter an indeterminate, that means you have to go to the second method. But you realize that there's a radical, so you should not use the factoring method. You should use the rationalizing method, because every time you have to recognize that every time you have a limit of radical plus or minus a constant or a variable, you have to realize that you need to use the rationalizing method, not the factoring method. If you have an x squared plus, if you have a polynomial function, then you should use the factoring method. But since this one has a radical in the particular problem, it's better to utilize the last method of rationalizing. Okay. Since you have 0 divided by 0, that means you did not get the constant answer. So you have to use another method, which is the rationalizing method. To use the rationalizing method, you rationalize the numerator. So how do you rationalize the numerator? You take radical x plus 2 plus x. If this is a plus, then you minus x. If this is since it's a minus, then you plus it. And then it's the same thing for the denominator. Once you have this expression, you take this expression right here times this expression right here. So it will be x plus 2 radical raised to the second power minus x times x, which is x squared, divided by this expression times this expression. So you will get this. Whenever you raise a radical to a second power, you will cancel the radical out, and it will become x plus 2. minus x squared divided by this whole thing right here. Once you have that, you could try to simplify the numerator and the denominator out. So negative x squared, you take out the negative times x to the second power minus x, because minus x times negative 1, it becomes x. Minus 2 times minus 1 becomes plus 2. As for the denominator, it will be the same thing right here. Once you have all this, it's better to factor the numerator. So for this particular numerator, the factor form out is this right here. And the denominator, you cannot factor anything out, so just copy the same thing. And notice that this x minus 2 can cancel with the denominator of the x minus 2 right here. So you're left with minus x plus 1 divided by x squared times radical x plus 2 plus x. Once you have all this simplified form, you could use the substitution method. So every x that you see right here, just plug into 2. So 2 plus 1, it becomes 3. 3 times negative 1 becomes negative 3. And every x on the denominator, you plug it into 2, and you will get this. So this is a basic addition and subtraction. So negative 3 divided by 16 is a constant answer. Once you reach a constant answer, that means that is the final answer for this particular limit.